The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, we got an absolutely fantastic guest on today. I'm loving the topic that she's going to talk about. But first of all, I know a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, if it was a Super Bowl. And I'm a little bit disappointed, but guess what? It's always next year. It's always next year. Well, Dr. Cooley, I know you're getting ready to say something. What are your thoughts?
I'm disappointed too. I wanted a three-peat, just something that's never been done before. But you know what? I'm sure everyone had a good time with the food and the appetizers. So we're just going to move forward ahead.
Yeah, you said three-peat, but today we're going to talk about something that I call it a two-peat. Or it could be three-peat, however that is, but I'm excited about the topic. So I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, and over 68 or 80 other platforms, welcome to the show. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on, ask any questions that you might have, and I promise you we'll get you an answer. For the people that's going to be listening on the radio, AM 660 The Answer, out of Dallas, that's where Michelle is at right now, or AM 1170, The Answer, out of San Diego, that's where I'm at right now. So I want to welcome everybody in. Michelle, I'm excited about this topic. Can you please introduce the title of the topic, the purpose, and introduce this absolutely magnificent guest.
Yes, the title of today's show is Divorce and Why Giving Your Marriage One Last Try Could Actually Help You Move On. So, we're having a conversation with Janeen Golightly. She's an author and marketing consultant for KUTV. She's going to talk about, hey, there's not just one way to do divorce or a relationship or to find peace, and coming out the other side stronger, confident, and more empathetic. And the issues probably you should not stick around and work through, and her 30-day plan with actions to take every single day. Again, Janeen Golightly. She's a marketing consultant for KUTV. She's an author, and she is the KUTV's, the CBS affiliate in Salt Lake City, Utah. She began her career at the station as a reporter anchor immediately after graduating from Brigham Young University. After taking a break to focus on her growing family, she turns to the freelance world of acting as a spokesperson on commercials, corporate videos, and branded spots. But divorce would eventually bring her back into the workplace and the local. ABC affiliate KTVX also is Salt Lake City, where she switched gears and worked as an account executive and part-time on-air talent for 7 years. In 2023, she returned to where it all started, KUTV News, this time as a marketing consultant. She also consults with Fuse Technologies, which uses a patented green technology to permanently kill bacteria and eliminate odors on fabrics and surfaces. But we're going to talk about her and her new book, Should I Go Back? Please welcome to the show, Janeen Golightly.
I love that. It's so fun. I feel so loved and welcomed.
Hey, welcome to the show, Janine. Welcome
Thank you. Thank you.
As we talked in the green room, I'm excited about this topic, and I'm sure that many of our viewers are going to be excited about this, and some of them probably have experienced what you get ready to tell our viewers about. So I want to start off with, can you tell our viewers now this a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what made you click, why you're so passionate about what you do?
I'd love to. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a Utah girl. I born and raised here. I did live for a little bit in California, but came back here. And, you know, the ultimate story of why I ended up writing this book, I've been married and divorced 3 separate times, and that is not at all what I thought my life would bring. It's been, I mean, I look back and it's a little bit, you know, shocking, really, in a way. But I think those are things that you think back on and you say, this is where you grow and you learn and you say, okay, why am I getting into marriages that are not right for me? What is going on here? Am I choosing the wrong people? Am I a terrible communicator? What are the things? But that's a whole nother show, right? I really am passionate about this topic because just based on my own personal experience with what I've gone through, I really feel like I can help some people. And I'm not necessarily trying to talk people out of divorce, because a lot of times people, you know, they get on that track of, I'm getting a divorce, and they're going to get that divorce. They're going to go through with it. But I'm just trying to get people to be a little more thoughtful about it. And maybe in that process, some people do come back around and say, you know what, we really do love each other. Let's just keep trying, and let's change a few things and stay with it. So, I mean, I'm hopeful that will be the case. But at the same time, if you do decide to get a divorce, maybe you can do it in a little bit healthier way, a little more thoughtful, so that, I mean, for me personally, I maybe could have left a few less people in my wake on that first divorce. And that's really my whole reason why I'm passionate about this topic.
Wow. Well put. If I'm gonna always start off with throwing a wrench in there. If you could only choose one adjective to describe you and who you are, what adjective would that be and why?
First thing that came to mind was happy. And that does describe me. I am a happy person, even though I've been through an awful lot. My mom used to say to me, how do you keep such a positive attitude, and you've been through all this? And I'm like, I would always say to her, you know, Mom, I see everything I go through, I see it as a temporary setback. That was kind of my mantra it's just a temporary setback. And I feel like if you can look at life that way, you know, that's what helps you to see that it's all part of life. You know, your circumstances don't dictate who you are. It's how you handle those circumstances that dictate who you are. And so, yeah, happy, definitely, no matter what.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all experience different type of circumstances.
Yeah.
And I say it's a lot of times it's growing pains. And it's sometimes I believe that we have to grow into understanding who we are in order for us to be happy. You know, so this book that you wrote, Should I Go Back? I love the title. Who inspired you to do this, or what inspired you other than the relationships that you previously had?
Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to tell you my story as to why the title is personal to me. It's a long title, but it's very personal. But one night I literally woke up one night and I don't know, I just felt compelled to write this book. Like I had been writing, you know, it's kind of therapeutic to write things down. And I had some ideas in my head, but this 30-day exercise that we'll talk about at some point, I was kind of writing those things down for my own benefit. These are things I wish that I would have done before I left my first marriage. That's where the whole idea started. And that kind of hit me one night when it was the middle of the night. And I woke up, turned the light on and started writing things down. It started there. But the title of the book, you know, why giving your marriage one last try could actually help you move on. I chose that because that's what it did for me. This last marriage, I actually was in a situation where I kind of went from bad to worse. And I found out some things about that were going on in that marriage that frankly were unforgivable. And he came to me and said, please, please, please just give me one more try, one more chance. I can change. You know, I'm in love with you, all the things. And it wasn't something that I would say to people that they should stay. When someone's cheating, you typically aren't going to work through that. Depends on the nature of it and everything, of course, and it depends on the two people. But in this particular case, definitely not a good idea for me to stay. But, you know, he was so genuine about it. I said, okay, I'm going to give you one last try. And I did. For the next 5 months, you guys, I literally thought that we were going to pull this thing back together. And I kept going, can I really forget everything that's happened and just start from here and move forward? You know, I mean, I'd already been divorced twice. I didn't want to do it again. And really for 5 months, he was amazing. And I just thought this could happen. And then one night, you know, I come into the bedroom and I turn into our closet and I catch him hiding his phone in the clothes up in the top of the closet. And, you know, the story is in the book, but that is the moment that I knew in my gut and in my heart and soul.
Hey, Janine, hold that though. I want to come back to that. Hold that though. We have to take a station break, but I tell you what, if you want to be part of this conversation, whichever platform you're watching this on, all you have to do is go to the comments. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Doctor, James, JC, Cooley, James, Cooley, show. It's your life.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
The Janeen Golightly Show. It's your life. That's right.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you, the first segment, absolutely fantastic. And we was talking a little bit right before we had to take the break. And I want to pick it up right there, Janine, what you said. You went in the closet and you found his phone. Can you pick it up from there?
Yes, I caught him red-handed, and I was like, stunned. And again, that the rest of that story is in the book, but I knew right then that I was out, and I was good with that. I wasn't angry, I wasn't upset. I was sure, I was certain that we could not move on and continue being married. And so thus the reason for the title, why it could actually help you move on, because at that moment, he just reaffirmed in my heart and soul that he was that person, that he could not stay faithful to me. He wanted to, I believe he wanted to stay faithful to me. He wanted to try, he wanted to do that, but he couldn't for whatever reason. And so, I don't know, I left with a lot of peace, and I hadn't had that experience the first 2 times I was divorced. I didn't walk away with that peaceful feeling, knowing that I just did the right thing. So I feel like that's because I didn't go through all the steps of getting myself to that place where I knew, and that I had tried everything and done everything that I could to be done. So I don't know, there's just a lot of power in that, being able to walk away feeling at peace.
Okay, you mentioned steps. So let's talk about your 30-day steps. And I'm sure it's going to encompass a lot. One of the questions we were thinking of is, there's no one way to approach divorce or ending any type of relationship, but your steps that you want to discuss with the audience, can you kind of go into that when a person is contemplating that and what they need to do, or your recommendations?
Yes, I would love to. So the very first thing on day 1, and I've written this out so that like every day you can take a different, you read a different chapter and you say, okay, what am I going to do today? Now, some of these are only going to take you 5 minutes, but I want you to take the whole day and contemplate it, or take a week if it's something that's, really, really hard for you. So day number 1, break off any affairs. Now, the reason I think that this is good in this place, I actually gave this book to a friend she wanted to work on her marriage, and she gave the book to her husband. We're going to go through this exercise. Got to day one, and he said, "No, I don't want to do this." And that told her everything that I think she needed to know. And they ultimately did get divorced. But I feel like, okay, there's probably some of that, not in every marriage. That's not always the reason why people get divorced, not by any sense of the word. But if that is, if you're going to try, if you're going to give it your all for the next 30 days, for heaven's sakes, cut off any people that are in, peripherally in your life or any kind of affairs. A couple of the other things that I've got in here, ask yourself, are you willing to start your life over? That's a really contemplative question, because you will be starting your life over in so many ways. And especially if you have kids, their lives will be starting over. The kids, I've learned the hard way through all this, that really I'm resilient. I can bounce back from this every time, but your kids really do suffer because their lives are just so different after divorce, and the back and forth with mom and dad, and just maybe having to relocate or move to a different house, just all the things. And so I really want you to think about that, and not just yourself. How about talking with people who have step families? Not an easy thing. When you're going to get remarried, you're probably going to have step kids. And it can be amazing. It can be great. And I actually am still close to the step kids of two of my marriages that I had. I've stayed in contact with those kids. It wasn't always easy. And bringing kids together is not easy either. So those are a few of the things that are in this exercise that I'm asking for people to kind of take a look at.
Wow. So, we talked about this before the show aired live, about bringing family and friends into your decision about your marriage, and how, don't get me wrong, sometimes you need to talk to someone and vent, whether you have go to church or whatever, spiritual advisor. And I know there's that one best friend you want to tell everything, but sometimes people, they just tell everybody, or at work.
Oh yeah.
It's just it's because they're hurting or they're just confused. What is bringing people into your marriage, whether it's family and friends, and telling them all the bad stuff, what's going on about the other person? How detrimental is that, especially if you're contemplating going back and giving your marriage another chance?
Yes, well, very, so yeah, I think sometimes you mentioned some of the reasons people do that, and it's particularly women. I feel like men kind of shut down. They don't really talk to anyone about what's going on in their marriages, which is probably a good thing. But women tend to want to tell all. So I would say, number one, okay, you're right. You're probably, we need to vent sometimes, or we need somebody to confide in. You need to pick that person that you can trust. I have a couple of friends that are like that I know I can tell them anything, and they will keep that between us. And your family, that one's questionable, because, yes, you want your family to be, you kind of want to go to your mom or your dad and, get some sympathy, but they're always going to take your side, and like you just said, Michelle, if you want to go back to that marriage, then what's going to happen? You decide to go back, and they're gonna hold that against your spouse, and they can't help it because they're on your side. So be very, very careful about the things that you do say. But I do feel pretty positive about go and ask questions, maybe get advice. Just don't divulge everything that's going on in your marriage. A lot of times people on the outside can see what's going on in your marriage, and you can't really see it, so,
or go to a therapist,
go to a therapist,
biased, and, they can pull things out of you that you may not realize about yourself or about your relationship present or the relationship patterns in the past.
Absolutely.
Some people want to stay in marriages that they are definitely unhappy in.
Yeah.
But they don't want to start over. They got small children. um, they see what
There were,
what life is as a single person, and or they're
yeah,
just used to that person. So there's just so many different
yeah.
reasons. So,
Or they're
um,
worried about the money. I think that's a big one for men. They worry about what their financial situation is going to look like. Yeah, there's a whole myriad of reasons. And I know some people. I know a few people who have stayed in marriages that everyone's scratching their head going, what are they doing? Why are they, but that's not for us to say.
but one thing when you discussed before the show is that unless we see a friend suffering from violence,
Yes.
that's when well, I mean, it's like you want to step in as a friend and say you need to remove yourself from the situation. I mean, anything else other than violence, that's between the husband and wife, but when it
Yep.
comes to violence, mm-mm.
Not our business. Yeah, if you want to stay married and live in separate houses, that is your business. You're right. But if you see danger, I had a friend ask me actually the night before I found out the things that were going on. She said to me, if he, do you think he's cheating on you? And I'm like, no way. Like I said, sometimes people can see things and they're just maybe trying to open your eyes or help you. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fine line.
So in your book, you want to discuss that aha moment. You mentioned that you had a sense of peace. Let's say someone, for some reason, they don't want to go to therapy. They don't want to talk to anybody about what's going on. Some people are extremely private, and that's okay.
Yes.
What is, let's say, the journey of when they need to make whatever decision, stay or leave, when, and there's no time frame. There is no time frame to say, I want a divorce right now. It's like there's no time frame. What's the rush? So I guess my question is, do you believe people need to give themselves some grace when it comes to, you don't have to rush to go back or rush to leave?
Hey,
Yeah.
hold
Yeah. Yeah. Go
that
ahead. Go ahead.
hold that question, Michelle. We got to take a station break, and I want to get all of this in here. So when we come back, can you please re-ask the question again? And
Yes.
I am excited about the answer, the feedback that you're going to give. So I tell you what, viewers out there, I see it's a lot of you guys watching. If you want to be part of the conversation, go to the comments. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Janeen Golightly Show. It's your life. Dr. Janeen J.C. Golightly.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I am really enjoying this conversation that we're having. And I'm sitting back and just taking it all in. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Michelle, and I'm
Yes.
just gonna be a spectator. I'm gonna sit back and watch.
Well, so Janine, the question I had before we went into break was that everything is not a rush, especially in relationships and marriage. How important is it to give yourself some time, even if you're contemplating divorce? It doesn't have to be right away, because when you're hurt, you got to deal with those feelings, and then you take a step back. How important is it to give yourself some time to focus and to just not only relive what is going on in your relationship, to be honest with yourself of why you married this person, what was really going on. And I think that's the hardest for people, is to be honest with themselves. So maybe that's encourages the rush. I have to do it now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so important. And so many thoughts were just going through my head. I mean, that's literally the first time I got divorced. That's what I did. I decided I'm getting a divorce. Didn't even discuss it with my husband. Didn't give him a chance to say, "Hey, let's take a step back and what do you need from me? What can we change? What can we work through?" I just was I wanted that divorce. And so that comes with regret, because like you're saying, it's so important to step back, take your time, try to figure out why you're feeling the way that you are and what is your motivation for wanting that divorce. Because I was really young. I was really young the first time I got married. I was almost 19. I know I even hate saying that, but sometimes people get married that young and they make it work, but I was immature. And so it was like, well, this is what I want, so this is what I'm doing, without a lot of with really no consideration for anyone else but myself. So that forced me to see things a little bit differently down the road. It's night and day between the first time I was divorced and this last time, even though, I had to get that last divorce. I didn't want to be divorced again, but there are things you don't put up with and you don't stay. No matter what, it doesn't bother me to say, yeah, I've been divorced 3 times. Not what I would have chosen, but it doesn't define me. And I want people to look at it from, okay, what is it that's going to make you two people really happy? I really believe that there are times when 2 people come together. My first husband, for example, 2 good people come together, but they just don't work together, or they don't make each other happy, or they're not happy, or that whatever it is, they just don't work well together, and then they move on. We've stayed friends. But yeah, if you don't do it right then, those feelings are going to back up on you, and you are going to have to face it at some point. It's better to do it before you even go forward with getting any kind of a divorce, in my opinion.
For those that's watching the show, listening to the show, and might be considering going back to a relationship, what advice would you give them that they might want to think about, for their well-being and for their ex well-being and going back?
I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, definitely take it slow. But part of what I've written in this book is it isn't just even about looking at your marriage. It's about looking at yourself. And there are some chapters in here that will help you do that and take, yourself under consideration too. Like, what am I not doing in this marriage? What am I not contributing? What could I be doing better? And so it'll put you through some exercises here as well for self-improvement. Just, you've got to be happy on your own and as your individual self before you can ever be happy in a marriage. And, I just feel like if 2 healthy people are coming together, and if 2 people who maybe aren't so healthy, but they're willing to work together to become that way, I think they're just going to find so much more success. And, I'm only speaking from my own experiences and what I've been through. I just feel like a lot of us are in these places where we could do better.
Absolutely. So how would you advise a couple or who might be experiencing challenges? And I know that you and Michelle talked about the rush thing, and sometimes we have to sit back and think about that.
Yeah.
So might have some complexities or personalities that might not match up, or they could work it out by communicating. What would you advise our listeners who might be thinking about something like that?
Yeah. What's the hardest thing we do as married couples? It's talk to each other, which shouldn't be the case, but it often is. We can't seem to talk to each other. So I would say, and the hardest things that I've written in this book for people to actually do and face is to sit down with each other and have some conversations, some difficult conversations. Because if you're at that point where one or the other of you is wanting a divorce, it's time to hash through some things and talk. Don't just walk out. Don't just, sometimes I don't think we understand why people do the things that they do. And, even with my last husband, even though that was a really rough period of time, it's hard for me to go through. It's also hard for him to go through. I don't think he understood why he was the way that he was, or is, that he, so you have a little bit of sympathy for that. But the thing is, if that person's got to be willing to go in and fix it, let's get to therapy. Let's talk it through. Let's have somebody help us. If you're not willing to do that, then I don't know how you can make it work. But if you've got two people who, we're all screwed up in one way or another, right? We all have our problems. We all have our issues. But if we're willing to work on those, and especially willing to work on it together, gosh, I think we'd see less divorce. And I think we could see more people working, because I'm going to say right now, you two, I can tell you guys have a happy marriage. I want to know what your secret is. We'll talk about that. We'll leave that on a happy note. I want to know what your secret is. But you guys it didn't just happen. I'm going to say you guys probably work on it every day, and you do the things that she asks you to do, and he does the things that you ask of him, and you've learned how to make a happy marriage. Because you could be just like everybody else, or a lot of people, and just not talk and not communicate, and it could go sideways. But you've chosen to make it work.
I believe that, and I can only speak for me, is being able to actually communicate and identify some of the challenges that you might have with your partner, and she identifies some of the challenges that you might have with me. And I believe everything is about compromising with certain things, because no one, and you know, heard the 80-20 rule, right? If you're looking for somebody with 100% way that you want them, and all that blank, 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 it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So being able to talk things up, be able to compromise on, give a little bit, take a little bit on both sides. And that's what I believe makes our marriage so happy and work.
That's the magic word, huh? Compromise.
Compromise.
And it's also, for me, it's more like we love each other so much that we wouldn't want to do anything to hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can look in my eyes and I can look in his eyes. And if I've done something, that is so egregious that it just ruins our marriage, that would hurt me to see him so hurt. And I believe that's vice versa. And the little things you just work through, as far as communication or, disagreement, you take a step back, but we love each other that we don't want to do anything to each other. That would be so hurtful that you can't recover.
You can't recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. I mean, that you got each other's back. That person is so important to you. You care for that person to that degree. That is what makes relationships work. And you both got to have that mindset. It can't just be one or the other. You've both got to have it. So how long did you two date before you got married? Can I ask?
2 years.
About let's see, 26. Yeah, almost 2 years. Yes.
Okay. So you felt like you knew each other pretty darn well before you got married.
Well, I got married.
Or were there surprises?
Well, it's interesting. I got married later in life. So I got married when I was in my early 40s. So this is
that helps.
This is my first marriage. So, I think in different time periods in your life, 20s, 30s, or 40s. When you're 40s, you kind of know what you want, and you're self-sufficient and you're independent. So you have to learn how to grow with that person you bring in as your spouse, especially at a later age. And as opposed to when you're in your 20s, it's
right. You're more malleable.
Different mindset.
Yeah, but communication is so big to us. I mean, and everybody get mad at each other every now and then.
Yes.
But being able to give a little time and not go to bed mad, all that stuff is so important.
Yes. All those things, they're not cliche, right? That really stuff really does work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we're going to have to take a station break. But we're going to come back because this is exciting. So if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comment section, the question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll be back shortly after the break.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are. The one that keeps us close when we're apart. Talking from the darkness of all that we've been through. It seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again life of
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, this discussion that we're having today is so needed because I know it's a lot of folks out there, that's listening and probably been in situations or might be in situations where they're wondering whether to hang in there, or get divorced, or come back and remarry, all of those type of things. But I think the most important thing is finding joy and happiness within oneself, and whatever that might be. I think that's truly, truly important. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Michelle.
Yes. So Janine, let's talk about finding joy along the way, even after divorce. There's just, television it always has a portrait of the divorced person and angry and bitter and, and doesn't want to be bothered. But, in your book, can you kind of summarize about finding yourself to be stronger, more resilient, and finding your joy again, even after a marriage is over?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're put on this planet to have joy, to be happy. Life's too short, right? So no matter what the circumstances, whether you're in a bad marriage, you've gotten divorced, or maybe you've never been married. I mean, there's always things in each one of our lives that we can say, oh man, it's just so hard for me. It's just so, I just can't be happy. It's too hard to be happy. Not true. So I'm a real advocate for that. I often say a lot of I am a happy person, and a lot of the things in my life, when I was married to each one of my husbands, there were good things, and there were things that happened during those periods of time in my life. For example, when I was married to my second husband, I met the two best friends that I have, I met during that time, and I would not have met them. They wouldn't have come into my life had I not been married to my second husband. So there are always things coming in and out of your life that bring happiness and joy, and looking for the things that make you happy as an individual. I mean, I tell this to my kids too, find those things that are, and there's a whole chapter I think there's a couple of chapters on this about ways to go in and find, what is it that I really love in life? What are the things that I, when I take a step back or I have a day off, I mean, I like to go to a lake and get on a paddleboard or sit on a beach or whatever those things are, go on road trips with, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things, I feel like are not distractions, but things that really, otherwise we sit, I mean, I work a lot, and I could focus my entire life just on work, and my work does make me happy, but it also brings me stress, and I need that stress relief. And I need to remember that we got to have fun along the way too. And our relationships with our families, if those aren't intact, we need to work on those as well, because our families bring us great joy. Our parents, our kids, our siblings, all those things. Just look for the things that are going to make you happy. It just makes all the difference in your life. I think we would all agree.
It's interesting. You read about couples who they've been married for 40 years and sometimes 50 years, and then they get divorced.
I know.
I think, and just tell me what your thoughts are. So let's say you're a person who gets divorced, let's say in their 30s or 40s or even 50s. That period in their life, different periods, it's doable to bounce back, of course, but then you have someone who gets divorced in their 70s and their 80s when they've been with that person for most of their life. Does your book discuss the different demographics and how hard it is for, let's say, an 80-year-old person to deal with divorce, especially when they've been with that person all their life compared to someone who's only been married for 10 years?
It doesn't discuss those different demographics, but here's what I would say on that, and just in my observations and noticing people and what they do. If you're turning 70 or 80 and you're wanting to get a divorce, what this is maybe too late for you at that point, but people that are contemplating divorce for a lot of years. I know people that have contemplated divorce for a lot of years and they just can't pull the trigger on it. They're waiting for the kids to grow up. They're waiting for, the house to be paid off. They're waiting for whatever it is. And what you're saying is you've really not been happy in that marriage for a long time. For you to pull out now and finally say, I'm getting a divorce, I'm 80, I'm going to, have this for the rest of my life. I would say to people that are contemplating, this is another reason, I'm glad you brought it up, is why I want you to read this. Some of the in here maybe they'll help you. Maybe you'll say, okay, do I want a divorce? Because if I'm just going to be wishing for it the rest of my life, is it really worth staying in this marriage? Start doing things sooner rather than later, because how hard would it be on your children to have you announce you're getting a divorce in your 70s? I think that's hard, really hard.
And it's interesting because young children are very observant. They know when mom and dad are not affectionate, they're not happy, they're not holding. And, and I know sometimes, and women, I'm just throwing women out there, if they were raising the children and they have no source of income, they're not working themselves, they rely on their spouse for financial support and stability. Stability is what some people are holding on to. But I do see your point. If a person, man or woman, is holding on and unhappy for 20 years, 10 years, just because of I'm used to this person, I don't want to go out there. To me, it can be very sad. That's just my opinion.
And what's worse, and I just had this happen to a friend recently. What's worse is you're in that frame of mind where, I'm relying on him for my income. I'm relying on, all the support and everything. And then you stay, and then your husband leaves, and then there you are anyway. And you are, I hate, I want people to be able to be self-sufficient. There's always a way to find, you can always make it work, whatever you need to do. I don't know. It's so individual. This is why I say there's so many different ways, to get a divorce or to stay married. You've got to figure out what's right for the both of you, but just don't live in silence and live in, misery if it's that bad.
So we're down to about the last 3 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
What are some takeaways that you would want our viewers and our listeners to get? And also, where can they buy your book?
Yes. So my takeaways definitely are, number one, if you're thinking about a divorce, do some things that are going to get you to make that decision, whether it's stay married or go through with the divorce. Just do those things that are going to help you get to that place. So that, okay, we're going to stay and we're going to try to make this work, or we're going to get a divorce and you're going to be able to leave in peace because you knew that you did everything you could to try and make it work. I think that's really my biggest takeaway, is do everything that you can to know that you're making the right decisions, so that when you do move forward, you can move on with your life and you're not constantly looking back going, oh, did I do the right thing? Should I have tried harder? Should I have stayed? All those things, that you did the right thing, and then you're healthier. So the easiest place to buy the book is on Amazon. You can go to a Barnes and Noble or a bookstore and order it, but Amazon can get it to you quick. So that's really the best place to go. So
can you tell our viewers the name of the book again?
Yes. So it's called Should I Go Back? Why Giving Your Marriage One Last Try Can Actually Help You Move On. And this is what it looks like. It's this yellow cover. Yes. And it was fun to write. I think there's some fun chapters in here. You'll get a laugh for sure. I've had a few people tell me recently that I should write it into a novel, and I probably will. I'm considering that. So definitely a Lifetime movie.
Wow. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on this show.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, this was absolutely fantastic. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank our producers, in San Diego and also in Dallas. But most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on Sundays, AM 1170 The Answer at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Sundays, AM 660, The Answer out of Dallas at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Always, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's Your Life.